Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Along This Spiritual Journey. So, a little message that was resonating with me said, just because I survived there does not mean I want to thrive there. And it had so much, I don't know the word I want to put, it just gave me so much clarity about everything that I do in life, where it's like, I have been told I'm one of those people where I've had many people say that um, I'm not consistent as far as being available. And I laugh because I'm like, well, I'm extremely consistent with those that I need to be consistent with. But if it's someone who I've known for a while and we have a certain rapport, but that certain rapport is only over certain topics, certain things, it's repetitive, we regurgitate the same thing. Again, this is not even talking about the person, this is just talking about the topic, the energy. I start noticing that I'm like, I don't really have anything to say to this person. You know what I mean? Like, that's not me trying to be mean. It's just like, I remember being in that space with you and being able to share on these topics that you find some semblance in and that we found comfort in. But I recognize that there's people who believe that's the entire connection. And that's where I'm like, baby, just because I survived there does not mean I want to thrive there. I don't want to sit and complain and talk about where I used to be and how I used to be, what we used to be and how we did it before. Because reminiscing to me has its cap, right? I am okay with reminiscing about the umbrella of the situation. Like, remember that time we went to that party and oh my God, everybody was talking and that person tried to cuss you out and you just ignored it and kept dancing. We had such a good time. I love that. I love your energy and how you just handled that. I can do that. But if you're over here like, remember that time people used to pick on you because you dressed bad and you was overweight and you did all this and all these things that people think are negative, which are not. It's like eye of the beholder. That's what I start recognizing where I'm like, people want you to not only survive there, they want you to thrive there. They want you to be like, well, I made it. I've stayed in the trenches. I've been living my life here doing me. What, you can't do that either? And it's like, baby, I did that and more. And then I realized this is not meant for me and I moved on, right? This is what we're all supposed to do. It doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful to anyone or anything or any situation, but it does mean you have to recognize, again, I said this in another video, when you know your value, you start recognizing like, I no longer need this. As kids, we need to feel like others feel what we feel. That's how we bond. That's how we make community and tribe and our little cliques. That's literally what we run on as kids, is emotions. No logic, all emotions. Logic is taught to us. And then when we start to recognize that not all logic is going to work for us, we have to improvise, which is where practicality comes in. Because then you take that logical thing that might seem logical, but then you use your emotional awareness to say, hey, this is more of a practical decision for me. I'm tall. I don't need to go through that tunnel. I'm going to hit my head. You're short. You can go through that tunnel. You're not going to have any issues, right? Logical, practical, emotional, it all accumulates and makes you a solid individual. This is why I say it doesn't matter how it sounds when it comes out. It matters the intent on how it's coming from your heart. And there's a lot of people who intently want you to stay in survival mode with them. This is not new stuff I'm saying. Again, the human condition will always be the human condition. My message will resonate with those it needs to resonate with. But the point is that we need more information and more connection talking about this stuff, because just feeling it is not enough. That drives people crazy. Trust me, I get it. I feel it. I can understand how someone's like thinking this thought they don't want to think, and it feels so intrusive that it becomes real. And it's like, that's where you used to be, right? That's where you used to be. That's where you used to exist. You do not have to let this live any longer if you choose not to let it live. So for me, I mentally decapitate stuff all the time. It's quite fun because I'm a very spiritual person. I don't believe in harming anyone or anything. But it's if energetically I need to make something a message of death, then yes, I will decapitate an instance in my head. I'm like, sever an imaginary tie, or I'm just like, I have to see it because it helps me recognize that I don't belong there anymore. I am not here to survive and thrive for other people's entertainment. I still have issues where there's people who believe because they have accomplished, you know, again, not putting it down, not making a derogatory term to people who have built a home, got kids, have a family. We've said that. That is not the end all be all. That is a beautiful chapter to a beautiful book. But assuming that because I don't want that, that does not mean that I am not stable. It doesn't mean that I am not conscious of who I am. And what I want is not going to look like what you want. And how it comes to me is not going to come to me how it came to you. So that's where I've started to recognize that it's important to know that you have to know what your new survival level is each day. Are you surviving from the same place of when you were 12? Or are you surviving from where you are now as a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, right? As we age and as we gain wisdom, we're supposed to add to the artillery, not take away from. We're supposed to add to the artillery and say, listen, I have gained all of these things along my journey that are tools, weapons, whatever they need to be that help you, because weapons aren't bad. It's what people do with them that make them bad, right? Weapons are necessary, unfortunately, on some certain level. Everything can be turned into a weapon, but at the same time, everything can be turned into a tool. That's the whole point of utilization. You have to know how to survive within self so that you can thrive anywhere in any situation without it becoming about other people's approval or validation. I do not think that I have to agree with every single thing that someone else in my life agrees with, but I definitely need to be around people who can recognize growth. If you're around people who cannot recognize growth, you will always have animosity around you. You're always going to have people just annoyed by why you think yo ish don't stink, and that's how it looks in their mind. All of us have accepted the ish stinks, but we're going to keep smelling it. Why won't you? Why all of a sudden do you want to put nose plugs in? Oh, you're too good for the smell? This is literally how people will be gaslighting you about knowing that you no longer thrive in a certain energy with them. So, as I said, just because I survived there does not mean I want to thrive there. And if someone has any issues with how you are moving on or moving up, if they don't want to support you now, they're telling you that they're not going to support you later. So don't start inviting people back into your life who come in criticizing you that way, because it's going to show much later that they never cared about you. They cared about what they looked like with you. And that's why it's important to always upgrade your surroundings, upgrade who you are. You don't have to move to a new town to upgrade your surroundings. That's when we say clean your space, rearrange your room. That brings in new energy. Get new outfits, change up your color palette. That brings in new energy. Eat something that you've never eaten before. That changes up your energy. Take a path you've never walked before. That changes up your energy. The whole point is get to a place where you know how to thrive, okay? Thrive, you will survive, but do it in a place where you feel safe and do it at your own timeline and do not go back. All right, I've said enough. Love ya.